Guys, this is a great question. So this person said, would you suggest that I cold call or email a local urgent care to see if they are hiring any uncertified medical assistants? So this person is probably applying to PA school and she wants experience, PCE hour experience, but she doesn't have a certification as a medical assistant, CNA, EMT, etc. So she's asking, should I cold call or email a local urgent care? Yes, but I would prefer coming in person. So cold call them in person, actually show up at the urgent care and ask if they're hiring. Oftentimes they'll be busy, they might just blow you off. So ask when the manager will be there. Likely the manager manages multiple locations. If they're there, cool, ask to speak with them. If they're busy, ask when they won't be busy and ask to speak with them in person. They might just continue to blow you off and say, give me your resume and then we'll call you, and then they probably won't. But when you're getting a job, when you're trying to get into grad school, when you're trying to do anything that's competitive, that depends on another person to do something for you, as in even take the time to process your application, the metaphor always is you want to be the monkey on their back. I know it's kind of a weird metaphor, but what it basically means is that you want to be annoying and persistent, but not so annoying and persistent that they want to shoo you off and ignore you, but you do want to be annoying and persistent enough to where they don't forget about you. So what you do is you try to talk to the manager if they're there. If they're not there, ask when they will be there. Of course, have them take down your information. Of course, fill out an application, whatever they ask you to do, but ask when the manager will be there so that you can come at that time and speak with the manager in person. Be very charming, be very professional, be on time, be early, be well dressed, be motivated, be ready to start that day if you have to. And that is how you get a job, whether it be a physician assistant job or your first PCE job as like a medical assistant or something. Two perfect stories about that, how I got two of my PCE jobs. The very first one was actually shadowing. So when I decided I wanted to be a physician assistant, I was still an active duty Navy sailor. I was stationed at MCBH in Marine Corps Base, Hawaii, on the North Shore of Oahu. And what I really wanted to do was shadow a physician assistant, one, to get some shadowing hours, two, to get some experience, to see if this is actually what I really want to do. And so I remember when I had this epiphany that I really wanted to go, I decided I'm going to shadow one right now. I have this idea in my head, I'm going to take action on it right now. I finally have a free day. I'm not going to waste this free day. I'm going to go get some shadowing experience. So the big hospital, the big military hospital on Oahu is called Tripler Army Hospital. It was about 35 minutes south of where I was living on the North Shore of Oahu. Or not on the North Shore, on Kailua, on like the north coast of Oahu. Anyway, not important. So I decided I wanted to do this. The problem was it was a freaking monsoon that day, especially over the mountains in the middle of Oahu. So, all I had was a motorcycle. I didn't have a car. I didn't have access to a car. I didn't have a truck or anything. All I had was a motorcycle. So I, with my brilliant wisdom when I was young and dumb and stupid, I was just going to take my motorcycle through this monsoon over the mountain roads, not a whole lot of lights, very slippery, very dangerous. And I was like, I don't care. I'm motivated. I'm doing this. I'm getting this shadowing experience today. So I was getting ready to get on my motorcycle, and my neighbor, Natasha. No, Natasha. It was Natasha. She's like, hey, where are you going on your motorcycle? Are you crazy? I said, I'm going to do this thing that I really want for my career. I'm motivated. I don't care. I'm going to go. And she's like, no, you're going to take my car is what you're going to do. You're not going to risk your life on this motorcycle in the middle of a monsoon going over the mountain on Oahu. So I said, fine, thank you very much. Of course, her car was a freaking Mini Cooper, so it really wasn't much better. I was hydroplaning, I was sliding all over the place. I thought I was gonna die, but I didn't care because I was motivated and this is what I want to do. By the way, don't do this. Don't be stupid like me, okay? But anyway, so I got to Tripler Army Hospital. I was drenched. I was still in my NSUs, my Navy service uniform, and WUs, Navy working uniform. I was in this back when they had the blue camis. I had this thick blue camouflage, soaked to the bone, completely soaked in rainwater. And I go up to the emergency room there and they're like, are you okay? What could we do for you? I was like, I want a shadow. And then they looked so confused. They're like, we thought you were in trouble. You're soaked. You're at this emergency room. What are you doing? We thought that you were sick. We're like, no, I'm not sick. I'm just motivated. I'm not sick. I'm just motivated. I really want to shadow. Are there any physician assistants working at this emergency room that I could shadow? And they're like, yeah, stand by. And so they made me wait for a little while. And they're like, here's a number of one that, does have students come in and shadow her. So she would probably be willing to work with you. Go email her and then get in contact with her that way. Don't show up here soaking wet at the emergency room making us worried about you. I was like, all right, sorry. That was kind of stupid on my part. So what I left with that day was an email address. I didn't even set anything up. I didn't meet anybody. They didn't let me, but I did have an email address. Lieutenant Commander, I can't remember her name, but she was a physician assistant working at the emergency room, and I was able to shadow her, and after shadowing this person, I completely fell in love with the profession, so it was totally worth it. And, here I am, years and years later. This was in like 2016. It's now 2024, almost 2025, I guess. So yeah, this was like, what, 8 years ago, right? 8 years ago this was, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. But the point is, with that whole long story, if you're motivated, go and get it, go and do it in person. Even if all you leave with is an email or a time to stop by again, I don't care. Go and do it in person. Be motivated, be charming, be pleasant, be persistent but not annoying. That's what you got to do. Second story, I promised you 2 stories. Second story, so after I finished my post-bac, after I got my grades up, so now I had that checked off to get into PA school, I knew I still needed experience. So I started working as a scribe, and about 6 months into working as a scribe, I actually got the opportunity to apply for a medical assistant position, which paid a lot more and also had way more hands-on experience, so I thought it would be a better experience than scribing. And so I was ready to start this job January 1st, and sure enough, as soon as I emailed them January 1st, like, hey, I'm ready to start, let's go. And at this point, I had already quit the scribe job. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, we restructured and we can't hire you anymore. And I was like, there's no way, seriously? Like, 1, I need income to pay rent. This is not okay. 2, I already quit my job as a scribe, so like, what am I supposed to do? And they're like, oh yeah, sorry. And that does happen, unfortunately. So here I am scrambling. I haven't been unemployed since I was 15 and a half at this point. And at this point, I'm what, 27, 28 or something? And so I'm terrified, I'm scrambling. I'm like, I need a job and I still need patient care experience. So I need a very specific job, medical assistant, CNA, something like that. I was a CNA. And so what I was doing, I was going on Craigslist at the time when Craigslist was a thing. I was going on like Indeed. I was going on every single job website possible, making a huge list and applying to every one of these jobs online. And also, if they're local, I was trying to get in there in person. And so, or maybe I started with phone calls. I started with phone calls just to get more done. But I was ready to start going in person. Actually, this was a long time ago. I'm sorry, I can't remember super well. But a few offices that were local to me, I actually did stop by in person and said, are you hiring? I need to be a medical assistant. I'll do anything. I'll work any hours, weekends, nights, holidays. I don't care. I need a job. 1, to pay rent. 2, because I need experience and I'm on this timeline to get into PA school. And so most of them were no's. Most of them were like, oh, we'll take your email or apply online or we're not hiring or whatever kind of excuse. But one practice was like, yeah, we actually do need somebody. When can you start? And they really liked the fact that I said, right now, today, I have my scrubs in my trunk. I'm ready to go. I can start right now. And the manager was like, really? I was like, yeah. And so they literally had me start that day, the day of the interview. I came in business casual attire, not even casual, honestly, business attire. I was in like a nice shirt, a tie, no suit, but like a nice shirt, tie, slacks, nice shoes. And so they were like, you want to start working like that? And I said, no, I have scrubs in the trunk. I'm ready to go anytime, guys. I need to start making money because I need to pay bills and I need to get experience hours. And they were like, let's go. We got this. We need somebody. We're very glad and impressed that you're motivated. And like the whole rest of the day, the manager was going around to all the staff going like, you see the new guy? And they're like, already? And she's like, yeah, he came with scrubs ready to start today. And everyone was so confused. They were like, we had never seen anybody this motivated before. And the owner of the practice, Dr. Romano, who's awesome, by the way, if he's still working, shout out to Dr. Romano in Syracuse, New York. He like really took a liking to me and he taught me things and everything. So it ended up being the best PCE job ever. I got really good hands-on experience. They paid well. Schedule was good. So it ended up working really, really well. But it would not have worked really, really well if I wasn't super motivated in getting that job and being ready to work and all of that stuff. So my point with that is, if you want something, go and get it. Don't just settle for an email or a phone call or an online application. Go get there in person. Look them in the eye, shake their hand, tell them you're ready to start, you're motivated, all that kind of stuff. Managers, that's going to be like a breath of fresh air to an office manager because they're so much more used to, especially people of this generation, they're so much more used to people just being lazy, entitled. Oh yeah, I want $50 an hour, but I don't really want to work. I don't want to do weekends. No. You want to work 365 days a year. You're going to shake their hand. You're going to be motivated, pleasant, easy to work with. Go get that job.